Everybody got a dream. Listen to me. Everybody has a dream, but not everybody got a grind. You are where you are because of how you think. And if you were to change your thinking, you would change your world. Monday, I grind. Tuesday, I grind. Wednesday, I grind. Thursday, I grind.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Secret to Success podcast. We're back with another one. Y'all been on this. Where's the podcast? Where it's at? Bring it back. And we brought it back, man. So we're excited to be back. E, how you feeling?
Oh, man, we bringing it back, so I feel back.
Yeah, we good. Yeah, absolutely.
There, I'm ready.
Yeah, I want to get right into it, bro. And I owe you an apology.
Finally.
Yeah, no.
Apology.
No. And I want to set this up for the listeners because, you know, y'all don't get to see a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. So anyway, if any of you heard the UOU video or the clip, I'm going to have Carl run it. But if anybody heard that actual video, then you know he was talking about, you know, creating a winning culture and avoiding a losing culture. And in the midst of that clip, he said something about a particular team. Now, understand that E speaks all the time, and it's up to me that when E's speaking, I get the audio, and then I cut and paste and, you know, kind of glue together the parts that I think the world needs to hear, and, you know, I send them out. Well, on this particular occasion, he was talking about a losing culture, and he invoked the name of one of my favorite teams. And because it was one of my favorite teams, I'm going to be real with y'all. It was one of my favorite teams, so I omitted that part from the speech when I put it out to you guys. So when you guys heard it, it wasn't in the original condition because what he said, matter of fact, I don't even want to say it. I'm going to let Carl run the clip. Carl, if you can run the clip, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it, and we'll break it down from there.
Now, let me say this before I move forward, and I can't explain it, but you better feel me. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but I'm from Detroit, and my team, the Detroit Lions, they've lost their entire existence, and every year they find a way to lose. We can be up by 10 points. My man just throw the ball to the other team. They get it and score. I don't know how it happens, but losers lose. And I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture.
The Detroit Lions.
I told you.
Well, no. So here's the thing, right? I didn't want to put that part in it because I thought, man, he gonna jinx our Lions. We good. We made the playoffs.
The Lions
last
gonna drink
year.
the Lions.
Right. No, I'm thinking we made the playoffs last year. You know, we on a roll. E, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me just cut that part out of there. So I actually cut the Lions part out. And lo and behold, man, the Lions, I think we won about, 4 games?
The Lions was the Lions.
I think we sitting here at about 4-10 or somewhere along those lines.
Yes, sir.
And
I'm a fan. And I'm a fan. But absolute truth is absolute truth.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. I guess the struggle for me is, you know, being a fan, I was like, we already clowned the team. I don't want everybody clowning the team. But I apologize to you because I should have left it in there because on the real, and we're going somewhere with this conversation. I'm not, you know, bringing this up to talk about the Lions, but on the real, I should have left that in there because the people needed an example of what a losing culture looks like.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm going to just be for real. Like, you talk about a winning culture and you talk about a losing culture. The Lions have lost since their inception. I mean, they might have been good like back in the 40s or something like that.
50s.
In my lifetime, in your lifetime, the Lions have never won. And sometimes, man, I sit there and I think to myself like, how is that possible to be a perennial loser in that sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about how the NFL or the NBA is set up. The worse you do, the better the pick you get.
Absolutely.
And so you're actually,
and we had about 4 number 1 draft picks.
Right, and I'm saying, but they do that to set the order of balance. Carl,
Absolutely.
if you know, Carl is here with us, guys, and I'm just going to refer to him anytime I get a chance because he's the voice of reason sometimes. But Carl, you know what I'm talking about. When you finish terrible, you get the first pick. Right, and so the odds after a few years are you should get enough guys on your team that are good to rebuild the program.
Absolutely.
Right, and so I'm just trying to figure out how the Lions, after years and years of being so bad and getting top picks, can continue to be this bad. And it's the losing culture we talked about.
Yeah, but you keep saying the top pick, like the top pick is the top pick. So in the top pick, you might have 10 players in the top pick. And the person who's picking the top pick has to be genius enough to know what's the real top pick and what's the fit for the team. So if it's the same person who's picking the top pick every year, then maybe we haven't been getting the top pick.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I just think, at some point you would think maybe even dumb luck would kick in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just happen to draft the right person, whatever. And I look at the Lions, and here they are sitting again at 4-10 or 4-9, whatever they are. And you just wonder how the losing culture, can stay with you that long. And so what you were talking about in UOU is you better be careful, because losing becomes a habit, losing becomes a culture.
Yeah,
so that's one of the things I want to talk to the people now about and kind of let you elaborate on is in our own personal lives, whether it be marriage, whether it be family, whether it be business, whatever. How can we avoid that losing culture? How can we get into a winning culture and kind of that what you talked about, avoiding that?
Yeah, I think for me, I think number one, for real, and I mean, we say this across the border, with probably every training series we do, but you got to acknowledge it at some point, and I think if you're in the league, and I've been in the league, you know what I'm saying, I've talked to cats in the league, and there are guys in the league, once they make the league, they don't want to deal with the fact that that's just the first level. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to deal with the fact that even though you might have made it to the league, you still might be at the bottom of the league. Mm-hmm. You're at the bottom tier. So you got to be transparent, honest, with yourself. And I don't know why. We talk about that in the average skill, phenomenal will, the inability to self-assess. Like, for whatever reason, people hate to deal with absolute truth. I was dealing with a guy today. He called me, man, the other day and was like, I promise you, I know this kid. I know his son. I don't even know this guy like that. He called me on some relationship stuff. After he told me what was going on with the young lady, I was like, look, it's apparent that it's not working out, bruh. So won't you just call her and just be real with her about the situation? Why my man text me 2 days later? It was Friday. So, of course, he hit me Monday. She left me. She left me. I was like, unbelievable. But, I mean, I knew that's probably why he didn't want to say nothing to her in the first place, because he knew if he told her the truth about what was going on and what he was dealing with, that she's probably going to get up and walk out. So I think the first one, and I don't even want to get past the first one, most people don't want to deal with absolute truth. And that's why they stay in that cycle, and they're afraid to deal with absolute truth because they're afraid of the truth.
So, I mean, are you saying you lying to yourself? Because when you say dealing with the absolute truth is the absolute truth. So why would we be afraid of it? You know what I mean?
And I think, I don't know why we are, but I think what it means, like, for real. So, with the PhD, for me, there was a point where I was like, all right, finish with all my coursework. But I didn't want to call a professor after not being in for 2 years, because I was afraid that he was going to say that there was a course that you missed and you had to take that course before you could do whatever. And guess what happened? Soon as I called, bingo, there was a course that you were supposed to take. You didn't take the course. You got to take the course before you. And so I don't even know if it was the work that I was afraid of, or whatever, but I was afraid of this reality that my worst nightmare might become a reality. So the best way not to know if it's a reality or not is not even to confront it, not even deal with it. Hope and see that it's just going to go away.
Right,
now, I mean, we know it's not going to go away, but some kind of way you hoping it's not going to go away. And guess what I did? I got the news and put a plan together, and now I'm Eric Thomas, PhD. But for 2 years, I ran from that news.
So, yeah, no, I got what you're saying. Kind of tie that back into what we talked about with the losing culture, though. How does that contribute to a losing culture when we kind of self-sabotage or, refuse to deal with that truth?
And that's wild, because when you refuse to deal with the truth, what are you doing? You're doing the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And this is what blows my mind. As I consult with people, I'm finding out that they're doing more of the wrong stuff. So you feel like if you do it more intensely, that something's going to change.
Right.
Like, okay, so you're lifting weights wrong, but you feel like if you take it up to another 30 pounds, another 40 pounds, your technique is off. Right. So it's not even about the weights.
Right.
Your technique is wrong. So in order for you to get the maximum, you got to fix your technique. But because you're going to the gym 4 times a day doing wrong technique, it's still some kind of way you're still supposed to look like my man who got the proper technique. So for me, I think that's the biggest challenge it has become a cultural thing because you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, more intensely, more deliberately, more intentionally,
right.
and you're getting the exact same results.
Right, and so in the result of that is, creating a losing culture in which things don't go right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because in the book Average Skill, Phenomenal Will, for those of you who don't have it, check it out, etinspires.com. It's a great read. It's a lot shorter than Greatness is Upon You.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like got a reference feel to it. It's a bunch of nuggets in there. But what we've done, guys, is, we've kind of reverse engineered our success, right? We wanted to look at, how did we go from, just two guys and added on another one in Carl and added on another one in LaShawna.
Two guys in the camera.
Two guys, right, 2 men in the truck. How did we get from 2 men in the truck to building a multi-million-dollar brand? And one of the things we wanted to do for you guys was reverse engineer that success and kind of decode how we were able to get to that level. And in Average Skill, Phenomenal Will, we broke down that.
Absolutely.
And the first chapter is exactly what he talked about, and it's the inability to self-assess. And we talk about the person who goes on American Idol, right? And the person goes on there, and not the people who are just on there acting silly, doing the Madonna routines, but the people who really go on there and think that they can actually blow. Like they go on there and you could tell they mid-level and they might be decent, and they end up getting their feelings hurt and the judges tell them they're not ready, whatever, and their families out there crying. And it's like, really, if somebody would have been honest with you, they would have been able to tell you, you're a B, C level singer at best.
Yeah,
C level at best.
Yeah.
But because we weren't able to realize that or deal with that, we weren't able to self-assess. Now we have to go through this heartbreaking pain of finding out, hey, this may not be for me, as opposed to self-assessing. So when we started this company, one of the very first things we did was we self-assessed. We looked at, all right, we got CJ and ET, right? Both of us are very much practitioners, right? We like to be out there in the field, speaking, doing hands-on, mentoring the young people, doing whatever. We knew neither one of us have the skill set to put things together, if you will, the structural piece, right? So we needed somebody who could come on, who could do videos, who could shoot videos, who could edit, who wanted to sit there in the lab with the film time and break down the times and all of that. And so we knew what we needed to get, and we needed somebody like Carl to come on and provide that piece for us, right? We didn't say, oh man, I know how to use the camera, I know how to, and because we were self-assessing, we knew what we needed to add. And some of you're not able to self-assess, and so therefore you don't know where you need the help. And so that, it also creates the losing culture as well. It
Absolutely.
can lead to that losing culture.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you what really bothers me, and this is why, I'll be honest, I truly believe that in Average Skill, Phenomenal Will, if nothing else, the first chapter is new revelation. Like, I don't remember seeing this in any book, and I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not trying to toot our horn. I just don't remember seeing it anywhere else. And so the challenge that I have, and the reason why I think this chapter is so important, is because I've not seen a great history or even a good history of people being reprimanded and still having the ability to take that information.
Right.
Like, I just haven't seen it. Most people, when you share with them their faults, they take it offensively. Like the young lady, I know a young lady who unfortunately got some news from friends and was like, they hating on me, and I mean, really got irate about it. But They were just trying to share on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being highest, you might be a 6.5. You know what I'm saying? And so if your friends can't tell you, who can tell you?
Right,
absolutely. I mean, I'm just being real. If your friend,
Yeah.
So that's why I think that the inability to self-assess, that's what we're saying. Get what we're saying. We're not even talking about the assessment itself. We're talking about you taking complete ownership, you taking full responsibility of doing your own assessing, because you can't get mad at you.
Right.
You can't walk away from you. You can't call you a hater. And so I think that is if you don't take anything else away, C never said we paid for counseling. We paid to get a business structure so they can sit down and talk to us about our strengths and our weaknesses as a company, that we went through some training, corporate training. No, we sat in a room daily, and we still do it. And that's why we're doing this podcast, because we realize, based on our self-assessing, that, here's something that we started, but we did not finish. We didn't do this beast mode.
Right,
We didn't do this 120. Nobody had to tell us. And so that's why we're saying we're making a commitment from now to eternity, as long as we are in business, to finish what we started.
No, absolutely. And I want to kind of move on from that. And, we're talking about the losing culture and how do you create a winning culture, right? So we talked about the inability to self-obsess being one of the main reasons people have a losing culture. And I would say that one of the main reasons for us, the reason that we've created a winning culture within ETA, and now we have, like I said, built a brand that's recognized across the world. We've toured across the world. We have an awesome staff that works with us. Just young kids going to work, from anywhere from graphic design to shipping to videography. We have some brilliant young people working with us. And one of the reasons we were able to get to that level is by creating small wins, which is another, thing that we talked about in the book, another very important part of the book. But one of the things E taught me early on, guys, was that you have to create small wins, right? So while we have these huge goals, right? You may say, hey, we want to be a multi-million-dollar company. We want to get hundreds of millions of views on YouTube. We want to inspire the world. Well, the first order of business is to get a small win. Go get a contract with a school. Go get a contract with a local middle school. And I think that's kind of what took us to the next level. And so many people want to, how do you blow up? How do you do this? How do you do that? You have to be faithful over few. You have to start where you are, right? And so we got small wins. I tell people all the time, I can remember one of our first contracts for the company being a $600 contract with the New Jersey school system to do 12 schools, right? And we had to drive and rent our own car, drive from Michigan to New Jersey, right? And back, and pay for our own hotel and everything else. And we got paid $600 to do 12 schools, right? And that was a win for us. Now, some of you might be saying, how is that a win? You must have lost money. We did lose money.
Right.
But the thing is, we were actually able to get a contract with a school. We knew a school system was willing to pay us for our services. And so, therefore, we looked at that as a win, right? We had another school in the Lansing School District. We were doing free services for them. They liked the service so much that they told us they would try to pay us, but they didn't have a budget, so they were going to pay us out of the vending machine money, right? You remember that?
Oh, do I ever remember it?
Right. So that was a small win for us. Okay, so even though you may be looking and say, vending machine money, what was that, $100, $200 a week? Absolutely, but that was a small win for us, and small wins created momentum.
Absolutely.
So I tell people all the time, when you look at us, the reason I believe we're at the level we're at, wherever that is, and I'm not saying we're at the top, but we're doing well, is because we were faithful over those small wins, right? We got the ball rolling. So every single time we went to a school, every single time we spoke, every single time we went out and somebody recognized E, or, whatever the situation was, we took all of those small wins and we kind of just created that momentum. So what you guys see now is a snowball that's just been rolling downhill. And it all started from the small wins. The best way I can describe it, the other day, I was speaking at David's event in Atlanta, and somebody was asking me, how does it feel? You guys toured in Australia and you did 5 cities and you did New Zealand.
Right.
And I said, well, I guess it felt good. And, they were like, you must have been amazed. And I was like, no, not really. And I wasn't trying to be humble. I was really telling them, like, we did 3 cities last time we were there.
Yeah.
Last year. Less than 365 days ago, we did 3 cities.
Yeah.
And then the time before that, we did 1 city. And before we were touring in Australia, they were buying our books in Australia. And before they were buying our books in Australia, they were watching our videos in Australia and sending us emails from Australia. And before they were watching them in Australia, they were watching them in the States. And before that, our family and friends were watching them. And so this has been a culmination of small wins.
That's right.
So nothing we do now is just super humongous to me. You know what I mean? Because it's all been built on level by level. And that's something else we'll talk about in another podcast. But, getting those small wins is important. And
Absolutely.
you can kind of talk about why you instilled that in me as the president to kind of move forward with small wins instead of looking at this huge goal and going straight after
Yeah, because
that.
I think confidence is a big part of success. And a lot of people overlook confidence. To me, confidence is equal or greater than talent. Because you could be talented, but if you don't have confidence, if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to approach it the same way you approach it when you are like, mad, excited. Because that's what confidence does. Confidence gets you pumped up. Confidence gets you going. And once you get to going, what that energy does, that energy is contagious. That energy starts to spread into everything that you do. So real quick, a couple people hit me up. They knew this year I spoke to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right.
They knew I spoke to the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Some people was like, yo, E, the Steelers murdering since you You should post. I'm like, I don't got to post. People know what we doing. I need to post.
Right.
Pittsburgh won 3 big games. They got a chance. They in the hunt for the AFC wild card game, right? But the Jaguars, you did the Jaguars too. They ain't gonna make the playoffs. I said, listen to me. The Jaguars is just as big of a win as the Pittsburgh Steelers, if not a bigger one. Why? Because the Jaguars won 3 games since I spoke. They were 3 for 4, and they beat the Colts 51 to something. That's huge. So for me, the Jags, if you study, the Jags only won 3 games last year. This year they already won 5 with 2 more left to go. So if they win 1 more, they can double what they won last year. Right. So that's a big win for our organization. That we took the team that was 3-13 to possibly 6-12, and they can keep building. So the small wins are critical because they all add up.
Right.
Brick upon. That's how you build a house. You don't build a house at one time. You build it brick upon brick upon brick, and each brick that you put in place and build on another, that's success. So I think the smaller wins are as big as the bigger wins, because the small wins give you the confidence to get the big wins.
Absolutely. And I hope you guys hear what he's saying. Those small wins are so crucial. And those small wins build up into a big win.
Absolutely.
And so real quick, I want to ask you, because I didn't get a chance to go. For those of you who don't know, I guess I can let it out to the world now. My wife is pregnant again.
Yes, sir.
We got another shorty on the way, so I'm excited about that, man.
The grinding went to a whole
The grind is on
small.
another level.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm about to start taking some of them small gigs now that I was leaving for the Gazelle. I'm about to have to get some of those.
Absolutely. So I haven't been traveling quite as much just because trying to make sure I'm there for the wife. And so he actually went, you heard him say it, and for those of you who didn't know, he went and talked to the Steelers. And one of the questions I want to know, and we haven't even had a chance to really debrief on the Steelers, is what did you see when you went to, because right, we talked about the Lions earlier, and obviously it's a perennial losing franchise. We just lose. That's what we do, right? I'm a Lions fan to the day I die, but it hurts, and we lose every single year. And then you look at the Steelers, on the other hand, who are just known for winning. They've got championship after championship. You can go all the way back in the day with the Steel Curtain, all the way up through Jerome Bettis and Big Ben. And it's like every year, either they win it or they're in the hunt for it or they're right there. And I looked at them and I go, wow, what a different franchise they are from the Lions. And so being that you've been to a bunch of NFL, NBA, did you notice anything about the environment there that you can tell us about, maybe the coaching staff or the way in which they present the team, or just the mindset? Was there anything different when you went into such a legendary program and saw what they believe to be a winner? Is there anything you can share with us as to how you think they built that culture?
And here's the crazy part. I mean, I could do another podcast on this. You know what I'm saying? We could just say this for another podcast. But what was deep to me is, and I thought dynasty when I was there, is that you see from the past to the present, you see that the championship mentality, the championship reality.
Pedigree, yeah.
I'm talking about merged. So you talking about you walking through the stadium, you see nothing but the champions. I'm talking about Lynn Swan. I mean, when you go to the airport, they got Franco Harris at the airport with the Immaculate Conception right there. They got
or reception.
The birth of Jesus Christ. It's Christmas, y'all. And I was tripping because I'm like, yo, when you get off the airport, the Immaculate Reception is there.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you get off the airport, the statue. I'm like, who does that? Who makes a football franchise a memorial at the airport? So if you don't know nothing, and my wife took a picture with it. She's like, what is this? So I had to break it down to her. A couple seconds left in the game. Boom, Franco Harris gets the ball. Boom, touchdown. And so my wife, was in awe. Like, wow, give me the history. So when we got off the airplane, walked into the airport, boom, championship right there. Pittsburgh Steelers. Walk into the stadium, championships. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm laughing, though, because you talk about the 60s, the 70s, whatever, you looking at a coach, modern coach, who won a Super Bowl. He's still there. Super Bowl winner right there. Big Ben right there. I think the biggest thing, man, that really hit me I'm in the players' lounge. Franco Harris walks in. Lynn Swan walks in.
Oh, word.
Mean Joe Green walks in. Starworth walks in.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
What? Okay, you should have told me that. I didn't know
I'm
that.
talking
I'm geeked
about,
up now. I'm
talking
like, wow,
about, I'm
that's
just sitting
crazy.
there. They all walking in, bro.
Oh, wow.
All of them walking in.
See, y'all, I'm getting the information just like y'all getting it. He don't tell me nothing, man. We used to, back when these was bigger wins, we used to feel like
I probably
we used to
talked
share
about
quite
it.
a bit. But
so I'm saying everybody was there. They had the mayor from different cities.
Wow.
You know,
and
celebrities.
were they honoring them, or was
regular,
they were just there for a regular game? Wow.
Regular game.
Yep,
So you talking about
crazy.
past and present winners, all in there. So if you were a kid, man, you see, I don't care who you are, you playing, you see Franco Harris. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable, man.
So the expectation to win
is there, and they got their championship jackets on. They walking around with their rings on. I'm saying these are legends in the game, legends. So, yeah, without a doubt, man. You know, you have some teams that may have won one or two, but you're talking about years and years ago. The Pittsburgh Steelers, past and present winners, and they were all, you know, together at one time. You know, talking to the players before the game. You know, I mean, it was unbelievable, man.
Yeah, no, and I think, you know, like there's different, you know, when I think, like I've really been trying to like analyze this winning thing, and you got, you know, the culture of winning of the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
And so then it's almost like Tomlin is a great coach. He's a great guy to continue that tradition.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's kind of in the tradition. And then you look at somebody who may not have had a culture of winning, right? But they have a player or two who have the winning mentality. And you know where I'm going with this. I'm going with Curry and Draymond with the Golden State Warriors, who, for real, I don't never really remember the Warriors being sweet like that. But because you got a few players now, and so it's not necessary. You can't really say it's a part of the culture for Golden State per se, because they hadn't been winners. But now it is becoming a part of the culture because of the players that's built in. So kind of talk to us about what you think the difference is when you have like a built-in culture like the Steelers, and then somebody who has to go from, and I guess you could say the Clippers as well, even though they haven't won yet, but they were, I mean, I remember the Clippers was like the Lions, and now at least they get into the Western Conference Championship or in the playoffs. So like, how do you look at, you know, the like revitalizing, and I'm thinking about this from the perspective of a perennial loser now who is becoming a perennial winner, and from the player standpoint and from within, kind of, you know what I mean?
Well, I think what you have to understand, though, is all these players, you know, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers weren't always a dynasty. You know, Dallas Cowboys weren't always a dynasty. You know, there are players that made these people dynasties. And so I think what happens is you got the pre-dynasty. And what we're looking at with Golden State is the pre-dynasty. We're looking at the players with the characteristics of a dynasty. You know, Draymond, we know Draymond from Michigan State. Draymond hated to lose. Draymond was never comfortable with losing. You know, he always wanted to be a champion and did whatever it took. You look at somebody like Steph Curry. Steph Curry, and I don't know him, but I know he has the mind of a champion because the way he practices, the way he prepares.
Muscle memory.
So for me, I'm looking at this kid like, yo, he's doing what MJ did. He's doing what Walter Payton did. He's doing what Jerry Rice did. This is what these guys did. They were obsessed with practice. They were obsessed with preparation. They were obsessed with, I'm going to be ready. I don't know when that opportunity is coming, but I guarantee you when it comes, I'm going to be ready for that opportunity. And so I think that a dynasty is not a dynasty because of the name dynasty. I think a dynasty is a dynasty because of the individuals who embody the dynasty characteristics. And I think that's what makes a dynasty. So, and no disrespect, but I'm a Lion fan. You know, you'll see the Lions, whether they win or if they're losing, you start to see a different disposition on them. You start to see people giving up and people quitting or people not playing as hard. Man, I'm going to be honest with you. I remember Michael Jordan playing just as hard when they were losing. Like, he went to the last second. Like, he didn't say, okay, fourth quarter, 2 minutes left, we're going to lose anyway, head down, coach, take me out. Man, he went hard in the paint. And I know people may or may not want me to go here, but I'm noticing that, man, in Jameis Winston. They were playing the other night, losing, and he made a statement that this game ain't over yet.
Right.
Mathematically, it was over. There was no way for them to come back really and win. But his thing was, I'm going to play this whole thing out.
Yeah, the process.
That's it. And I think we can see if a team is going to be a dynasty, not because of the term, but we start to notice the characteristics in the players are
and
dynasty.
You know what's crazy? I'm reminded of when we watched that Nick Saban interview.
Absolutely.
And shout out to Saban and Bama. We rode through there a couple times, man. Real good people. But we are hoping our Spartans can get it done.
We need it. D'Antonio needs it.
We about a week and a half out now.
Mentor meets mentee.
Yeah, Michigan State, Bama. Good luck to Bama. Good luck to Michigan State. Of course, we're Spartan graduates, so we're hoping the Spartans pull it out. But I want to talk about when we watched that interview with Saban, and the craziest thing, it was the end of the national championship game. You remember this?
Yeah.
And they were up on Notre Dame. They
Yeah.
must have been up by like maybe say 21 points, 28 points. I don't know. They were blowing them out. The game was over. And there might have been a couple seconds left on the clock. And I think they were just running the clock out. They basically just wanted to run the clock out. They were already winning. The fans were celebrating the whole nine. In some kind of way, the center snapped the ball and the QB wasn't ready. In some kind of way, there was a mix-up with that. Now, keep in mind, they up 21, 28 points. The game is over. They should be celebrating. And the center and the QB start arguing, and they pushed each other. Like, here they are about to win the national championship, and they messed up the exchange late in the game when it was inconsequential. It didn't matter. Notre Dame couldn't have won if they wanted to. And they start arguing with each other to the point where they got, like, physical with each other. And they were so upset that the process didn't go right that they were beefing on the field, even though they had such a huge lead. And I'm sitting there going, wow, like, Saban was able to pour into them that, listen, you play every single play, every single down like it is supposed to be played. Don't look at the scoreboard. Don't focus on that. You focus on the process. And they had got so caught up in the process, they didn't even realize they were about to win the national championship.
Unbelievable.
And I was like, wow, that's an exact example of what we talked about. Yes, dynasty. They are worried about the process. They're not worried about, what's the score looking like? What are we down? Are we up? They're worried about doing it right every single time. And that was a huge example of that. And that's exactly what you're talking about in terms of it doesn't matter what the scoreboard says. If you get up and do what you're supposed to do every single time and you fall in love with the process, you'll be fine.
Absolutely.
And so I love it. So real quick, I want to continue on in the winning culture. And another thing that we talked about in the book, and you actually brought this up to me. It was the first time you and I had talked about it, and I was like, man, E, you got to put that in average, skill, phenomenal will. And you talked about the unforced errors.
Yeah.
And that was big because unforced errors is a thing that hurts a lot of people, but maybe you can talk about your experience at the U.S. Open and kind of why you thought about that, and then how it ended up, that we put it in the book and it became a major part of that.
And I might be, overanalyzing, but for me, I do believe that there are categories of losing. I know I said winners win and losers lose, and I meant that with all my heart, but I categorize losing, for me anyway, in two ways. One, you lose because there was a team that was just flat out better than you. And I mean, at the end of the day, you have to accept that there are going to be times and there are going to be nights that you're going to just come up against people that just may be better than you. You have to deal with that. But the reality is there are also going to be times when you're going to lose because you gave it up. You know what I'm saying? They didn't necessarily beat you. You lost to them.
Right.
And so for me, Serena Williams has an opportunity, I'm talking about what they call a hat trick in hockey. She had an opportunity to win 4 majors, the majors, in 1 year. You're talking about the U.S. Open, you're talking about the French Open, the Wimbledon, you know what I'm saying? She had an opportunity to do 4, in 1 year,
wow.
And the French Open, and and she lost, but if you...
And you were there.
I was there, man, right there watching.
For those of y'all who don't know, he is a huge Serena fan
adamant.
And always has been. One of the first messages I saw him do was a Serena Williams message about the bumblebee. Yeah, the bumblebee. So you have to give him that. At some point, you'll have to give him the Serena bumblebee story. Carl's laughing because Carl remembers the bumblebee. Carl had to do many slides with Serena.
And the bumblebee.
With the bumblebee.
Somebody hit me up the other day about, E, did you see your bumblebee made it as the sports person of the year? I said, I knew before you knew.
Absolutely.
But man, sitting there and having an opportunity to see her do her thing live, actually my wife bought tickets as my 45th birthday gift, And
45?
45, baby.
Ooh,
45.
Lord.
On my way to the big
Half-
5-0.
Halfway to 90.
Halfway there, baby. I'm just trying to do 90 sweet, though. We're going to see if we can do it well.
Absolutely.
Or leave you enough behind now. You can get to 90.
That's all I ask.
That's all, man. So, just to watch her lose, the girl wasn't better than her. But Serena, what they call in tennis, unforced errors, which means that the points that your opponent scored had absolutely nothing to do with their effort. Like they didn't beat you out. They didn't serve back and forth. You know what I'm saying? They didn't volley. But Serena hit the net a few times, and she did this quite a bit. And so that hurt me. And I took something from that, that you could lose in life with unforced errors. Just you look at athletes, man, football players who are at the top of the game, basketball players that do some, forget my terminology, some dumb stuff. Just dumb stuff, that off the field stuff that now has interfered with the money they're making, with them being able to get on the field and perform. Sometimes it's fighting. Sometimes it's illegal substance. Sometimes it's wrong place at the wrong time, not being letting friends go, like whatever. And so in life, some of us sleep over. You had a big test, a big interview. You slept in. You overslept. Like, come on, who oversleeps for a big? That's on the album.
Right. Go.
But it's real, man. So,
and you also talked about stuff as simple as he talked about when he was a student. just forgetting your pencils.
Yeah.
Or forgetting some paper, your book bag, your homework, getting to class late. Like those are those are unforced errors that if you were to take that extra 5 minutes it took you to find a pencil, that extra 10 minutes it took you to go back and get your backpack, now you late to class, those were unforced errors.
Well, Michigan State parking.
Right.
Michigan State parking. Like you go back and get your books and whatever, you come back, you missed a prime parking spot. Like if you get to class 20 minutes early, you got a prime parking spot right in that college. You wait till it's 10 minutes to class.
Done.
Now you got to go park across the street somewhere and walk back over because of a 10-minute. You didn't put you weren't organized.
Right.
You didn't put your homework in the book bag the night before. Put the book bag by the door the night before. Get your clothes ironed, ready. You said it. Unforced errors, man.
Yeah, and that's when we talk about average skill, phenomenal will. That's kind of one of the things we talked about as being underdogs where you can make up that ground. You know what I mean?
You make it up, yep.
Right, and so you talked about for real. You didn't have, that academic skill set to that level, but once you cut down on the unforced errors, you were able to compete on a whole nother level.
And you see what happens sometimes when you're in tennis, especially, and you don't do the unforced errors. Now you put the pressure on that other person. Now the pressure is on them to be just as perfect as you are. And man, that's the one thing I like about Tom Izzo, and the Michigan State basketball team, is that one of the things coach works on is, the turnovers. Don't give them a free, because once you give them, they in transition in a way that when you make the shot, you got a chance to set up. You got a chance to get your defense set up. But when it's somebody steals the ball from you, or you shoot a ball you shoot an air ball, they grabbed it, boom, they down the court. Right. That's an easy two. Right. So we have to, if you're not, 30 on the ACT, SAT, whatever it is, 3,200, whatever that, I don't know what those grades are. But if you're a C student, a B- student, the way you could catch that A student is to make sure you at every class, you get every note, you take every test, you read all the stuff. Like you don't no breaks. And I'm telling you, you could do that. You can make up. Might be tough, but you look at our company and where we are right now. We definitely didn't start with a grant or a loan. Or we didn't have no, what do you call it, networking, and we didn't have sponsors who could just, like, how long we been in business with no sponsor? You know what I'm saying? So, but we've made up unforced errors. Every week TGIM, whatever. There's just some things that we have not done that have not put us in a bad place, and we just try to stay consistent, and then boom, that big opportunity will come for us.
And that's that phenomenal will, though.
Yeah.
Right? So you talk about it, average skill, phenomenal will, guys. This is what the book is about. This is what we're talking about, and this is in 2016, something we're going to be very deliberate and intentional on the tours, on the videos, whatever. You look at the TGIMs. Like Carl sitting here. Carl, how many TGIMs did we film? Hundreds of TGIMs. And so we didn't have, because
and that's the stuff they get to see. They don't even get to see the stuff that we do for companies, NFL, NBA. They don't see those
I'm talking about videos. Even before that, doing private videos for high schools, middle schools. We have been doing this so long, and that's part of the average skill, phenomenal will. You guys got to get it in your mind that these are hundreds of videos in. somebody said to me the other day, like, man, I'm just frustrated. See, I feel like, we working on this thing and it's not coming to fruition. We've been grinding. I said, how long you been grinding? They said 8 months.
Oh, wow. Wow, whole 8 months?
I was like, wow, 8 months? I'm like, if we would have been ready to quit after 8 months of where we were, we would have been in E's backyard.
Yeah.
Carl would have been sneezing and snotting in the camera.
In the camera.
Cause for those of y'all who don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch season 1. Carl, you laughing up there, but he know what I'm talking about. Carl used to be like, allergies killing him. We didn't know what we was doing. We was just ready to go. Right?
All in the microphone.
I'm talking about Carl all in the mic. If you go back and read the comments, they like, yo, awesome video, but give my man some clarity. He was hurting. So I'm saying that's one of the things we did, though. We had to go through those levels. Now imagine if we'd have just been like, yo, we only getting 65 views per video.
Let's quit.
Yo, this is it.
Give it up.
But look, that phenomenal will though, y'all. We just kept pushing.
Kept
Right?
pushing.
While there was somebody else who had, I'm talking about a phenomenal skill, right? But my man did 3 videos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? His cameraman tapped out because the clarity, he didn't get no clarity and he quit.
He quit.
He couldn't do like Carl and keep going. He had Carl outside talking about shooting in the wintertime. I'm talking about a foot of snow. He was running up hills shooting. It was crazy, y'all, but I'm just trying to show you that for real.
Phenomenal will.
Right, and that's why we're so passionate when we go to conferences and when we talk about this stuff and when we post and when we do whatever, is we are some regular dudes who literally just got up and grinded every day. Phenomenal will. Go get the book, man. I'm tired of telling y'all, go get the book. No, I'm serious. I'm not even playing with it. Go get the book, Average Skill, Phenomenal Will. So I think that was it with that. I want to move into another segment. This is a new segment, actually. It's called Ask ET, and this segment is brought to you by Grind Gear. Redefining the grind one day at a time. Podcast listeners can use the promo code Secret to Success for an additional 20% off our Grind Gear, available exclusively at etinspires.com/shop. That's promo code Secret to Success. That's Secret to TO Success. All right, let's get back into it. We wanted to bring up this section called ET, this segment called ET, Ask ET. People got a lot of questions for you, I guess, and I'm just gonna start with
a lot of answers.
Right, exactly. By the way, if you want to submit those questions, you can go to info@etinspires.com and submit those questions there, or you can submit them on Twitter using the hashtag AskET. The very first question is Dana in Chicago, and she wants to know, ET, what is your favorite cheat meal?
So West Side or South Side is where I want to know where you're from.
I just got the question
Okay.
here, so we'll ask Dana to reply on the next one. But favorite cheat meal?
I would have to say I have 2.
You only eat at 3 places.
I know.
Total.
I got 2 though.
He only eats at 3 different restaurants for his entire life, so I don't even know how he's gonna answer.
Well, they said cheat.
Yeah,
so,
cheat.
So it is definitely a.
If you could eat anything,
But they call it. They call it fettuccine Alfredo, but I substitute the fettuccine noodles for the spaghetti noodles, right? So that's my big cheat, and then my big cheat is eat a hamburger.
Okay.
That's my big cheat because I really don't eat beef like that, but I go to a spot with a banging hamburger. That's cheat right there.
And then any dessert or like, come on, this is your cheat
I ain't
meal
really
now.
on desserts like that. But the Cookie Monster is definitely would be that. But I don't know if I could say cheat because I'm gonna try to do that regularly.
Right.
Anytime like we out of town or my family's having somebody's graduating or something, I'm definitely hitting the Cookie Monster. But that's probably it, the Cookie Monster for sure. Well, I'm talking about with the ice cream in the middle, with the whipped cream, sprinkles, and the cherry on the top.
Absolutely. No, I got you, man. That's a decent cheat meal.
No
Hamburgers and ice cream and
no
brownies.
doubt, no doubt.
Marcus in Austin wants to know, how did you and CJ meet? First thing you thought of before going into biz? I guess I can probably tell you how we met.
I thought about nothing in biz.
Marcus, he and I actually met, man. It was crazy. He was doing work on Michigan State's campus, and I was doing work on the campus. He was actually speaking at a mentorship program out at Harry Hill, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. And my dad happened to be there. My dad heard E speak and was like, my dad know I'm speaking and I'm into that kind of stuff. And my dad came and was like, man, I heard this guy, and his name's Eric Thomas. And I had already kind of heard about E on campus. And he was like, you got to go by and see him. You got to go by and see him. And this was like Saturday or something. So I'm like, all right, Dad, no problem. He's like, no. Monday morning, I got his card. You need to go by and see him. So I was like, all right, Dad, I got you. My dad calls me at like 7:30 in the morning, Monday morning, and he was like, are you on your way up there? And I was like, whoa, this dude is like seriously on me about that. And I went up to E's office. I met him there. He remembered my dad and remembered the conversation they had. And me and E been rocking and rolling ever since. And I mean that seriously. Like, people don't understand when I say I went up there that day, we met. You know, I think we might have went to lunch and just kind of talked about some things, but we literally have been rocking and rolling ever since. And then the second part of that question was, what was the first thing you thought about when you're going into business?
And I don't think we thought about it. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know, we had become, you know, fam, like brothers. And so it wasn't a thought. Mm-hmm. It was more like, yo, we got to do this. Like, it's not an option. We have to do this. So, yeah, I don't think I ever thought about it like that.
Yeah, no, and I can say, and I know what he's saying when he says he thought about going into business. You're right, though. There wasn't like a whole lot of thought up front. But I will say one of the things when we sat down and actually got the structure of the business together and what we wanted to do, one of the very first things that I know I did was I wanted to evaluate and find out what's our USP, right? And this is for all my small business owners, for all my people out there who you starting a company, you're ready to blow up. You got to find your USP, and by USP, I mean unique selling proposition, right? And that's what makes you, what makes you, right? And so I gave the example in the VIP session. I said, if you have a McDonald's on this corner, and you got a Burger King on this corner, and you're getting ready to open up, you know, CJ's, you know, fast food, fries and pizza right here, what's going to be your unique selling proposition? What's going to be your particular thing that people want, you know what I mean? Instead of going to McDonald's, instead of going to Burger King, why would they come to your company, right? Why would they come and why would they spend money with you as opposed to going to the well-established brands? You have to know your USP. And for us, I looked at E and I said, okay, we got a USP here. He's a motivational speaker, you know, hip hop, he's urban, you know, he's got the cap on, but he can really speak to anybody. And so that was kind of our USP, and that was one of the things I wanted to make sure we had. Because if you're going into business and there's already, you know, the space is already overcrowded and people are already doing it, there's really no point in you even going into business. And so make sure you find your USP. The next question is Brandy. Brandy in Toronto wants to know, how do you stay positive when it seems like nothing you're doing is working?
Well, you know, for me, again, see, it goes back to what you said earlier, scoreboard watching. Like, why are you worried about what's working or not working at you just getting started? You know what I'm saying? It's like you should be focused on the process. Like, how do you know if it's working and you don't know it's working? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not the guru yet. You're still a student trying to get to that level. So you're not even in a position really to be doing that type of assessing. In the beginning, wax on, wax off. All you should be focusing on is waxing on, waxing off. Like, you shouldn't be focusing on is this working or not. You don't know if it's working or not. You know, only the guru could tell you it's working, it's not working. So I would just say stop scoreboard watching. Stop being so fixated. And I just know so many people who are on this spectrum. They're so fixated with the product, the end result, that they just don't understand how critical the process is. Like, nothing else matters. The process is the only thing. And like CJ said before, most of you only know ET for the last 7 years. You don't even know that I started this thing over 20 years ago. Right. What if I would have quit after 10 years or 15 years? So I've always been about the process. And to me, as long as you're not discouraged, as long as you're not giving up, you're not quitting, you're not giving in, but you're waking up every day and pounding the pavement, sooner or later you're going to be successful. Did Michael Jordan win his first few years in the league? No, he did not. Right. Did LeBron win his first few? No, he did not. You know, so I just say stop focusing on the product and the prize and focus on the process.
And we have a saying in the company that we always like to use, and it says you either win or you learn. Right, well, there's no such thing as losing, and we really take that seriously. And it was funny because one of my clients, remember I told you this story, he was actually charging a certain dollar amount, and he actually started charging way more, and I helped him, you know, get to another level financially in terms of what he was charging, and he was like, man, CJ, you a genius. And I was like, I think if you're a genius, you got to be pretty smart in like a lot of different areas.
Right.
I said, I'm smart in one area because we have literally for the last 10, 15 years done nothing but work on this particular area and this particular brand and this particular space. And so I do have an area of expertise in this area, but only because we've been doing it so long and you didn't have to see all the bricks and the misses.
Yeah.
Right? Fortunately for us now that we're in front of the camera and we got the conferences and stuff like that and people are coming out and people want autographs from ET and the whole nine, it looks like we can do no wrong, but it's because we've unlocked so many boxes that didn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like, imagine if you have 5 boxes in a room, right? And there's, let's say there's a prize underneath one of them. And say you've already been in that room and you've already lifted up all the ones that you know are nothing there. And then everybody comes in to watch you do it that one time and you know exactly where that one is now.
Yeah.
Boom, you open it up and everybody's like, oh man, he must have mental telepathy. It's like, no.
Superpowers.
Right, I already opened those. And so I found a million ways that didn't work. I just wasn't coaching anybody during that time.
Right.
We wasn't putting it on YouTube at that time, right? We were just going through the motions, trying to get better, trying to figure out what we were doing, trying to figure out what would work, what wouldn't work. So really, I'm not a genius. I've just found all the ways that don't work.
Yeah.
Trust me, I can give you a million ways that don't work. So then I found a couple that did and we rolled those. And so don't get frustrated, man. Don't get frustrated at all. You either win or you learn.
That's right.
Either you get that win or you learn another way. That's just, if nothing else, what do they call it, Carl? What is it called when you reduce the number of options? A process of elimination.
Yeah, process of elimination.
Right, if nothing else, it's process of elimination. If you did something that didn't work, good. You never have to worry about doing that again. It's not even an option anymore. Boom, you move towards the next idea. And so, absolutely. Let's get to this last question for Ask ET. Luke in Sydney wants to know, why can't I keep my New Year's resolutions? Usually last about a month, but this year I'm really looking to keep them for the entire year. What do you suggest?
Man, I talked about this on a Breed University call, the mastermind call, this past Sunday. And I told the guys, I said, one of the biggest challenges, people spend so much time, they invest so much on the goal that they never really invest in themselves in terms of the goal. And what I mean by that is you have to make sure that the goal that you're setting out for is a fit for you. I don't care how good a basketball player is coming out of college. You just can't recruit my man because he's the number one player. You have to recruit based on fit. Does he fit we don't need a quarterback. I don't care if the number one draft is a quarterback. We got Brady. You know what I'm saying? We got Manning. We don't need, you know what I'm saying? We got Cam Newton. We don't need a quarterback.
Right.
So let's just let the first round draft go. We pick up we do need a halfback. We need a halfback. You know what I'm saying? We do need a halfback. We do need a running back. We do need a fullback. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need. So I would say be very careful about setting these goals that are unrealistic. So I've got a little trainer that I work with when I'm on the West Coast. And one of the things I love about him is that we do exercises that fit my age. That fit my, particular build, my particular strength. So I'm doing squats.
So yoga, huh?
right.
Pilates.
You know what I'm saying? But intense, though. Intense Pilates,
Already halfway to 90.
You know what I'm saying? Intense. You know what I'm saying?
Deep these are.
So he's got me doing these squats, these lunges, but I'm not doing the burpees. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. I'm doing my lunge, I'm doing my squats, but I'm not about to kill. He doesn't have me doing things that are so intense. He knows I like to run. So we're in the hills in California, running up the hills. Like, he understands my body frame, what I'm capable of, what I'm not capable of. And I think what a lot of us do is that we take on these goals that are unrealistic. Now, I'm not telling you to set your standards low, but I am saying you can't do things that you can only do for 30 days. It's just like people who go on these crazy diets.
Right.
You can't diet the rest of your life. Like, it's not possible to eat like that for the rest of your life. And so you have to find goals that fit within the scope of your ability. And when you can find those, that's why people get on me all the time. ET, you need to be burping. You need to be doing. No, I run. I can do 6 miles a day.
Right.
So I'm going to run.
Because I'm going to do them burpees for about 2 days and then I'm
burnt out. My
right.
legs going to hurt. It's like the guys who come back from injury too early. Yeah, you can come back in 6 months, but they tell you to take 10, not just to overcome, but recovery, to give yourself a chance to build your stamina so you can play ball on that speed and on that level. So I would just say, man,
And you're looking for something that you can do that can
naturally,
become a part of your lifestyle.
Yeah, natural.
Like I can do this every day.
Every day if I want to, at least 4 or 5 days out the
got
week. You know what I'm saying? So don't do this stuff, man. ET said go 120. Yes, on the stuff you could do. 120 on run. I can't lift weights. My boy TJ lifting weight. He trying to drop me on the lifting program. I'm like, you've been doing it since you was 6. I'm 45. I'm already 39 years behind. You know, so yeah, do things within the scope. If you ever looked at the books that we produce,
yeah,
you're not gonna see no theoretic, deep, philosophical, neurological. You're not gonna see that. You're gonna see some practical stuff that a 10-year-old could read, a 13-year-old could read. So we stay in our lane. So as long as your goals are in your lane, man, you'll be able to do them for the next 50, 60 years. TGIM. That's within the scope of what I can do. So I've been doing TGIM for I don't know how long. But if you'd have asked me to take some standardized tests or something, I probably wouldn't do as well. So stay in your lane, man.
Good. And that's it for Ask ET. Again, submit your questions at info@etinspires.com or on Twitter using the hashtag AskET. And we'll make sure we get them on next week. Whatever your questions are, we'll get them knocked out. Real quick, man, I got a couple things I just want to ask you about before we get out of here. Did you see that your boy Lebron has signed a lifetime contract with Nike? What are your thoughts about that?
I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I mean, let's be real. When you have the ability to network with greatness, man, your kid's gonna eat and eat and eat and eat. And I just feel like, man, he's the greatest right now. Nike's the greatest right now. So it only makes sense, man.
Better than Curry?
I mean, you have to, when you compare.
Oh, I had him stuck a little bit.
No.
Hold on. We might have to open this up. I got you stuck a little bit. Because Curry doing it right now.
He is. But when you talk about, their portfolio, over LeBron, the course of, his career, he's got a pretty heavy resume, heavy portfolio. And I think maybe at the end of Steph Curry's career, we probably will be able to see.
Man, you got to admit, Steph Curry been unbelievable.
But again, it goes back to, can he sustain this over the next 5-6 years? And if he can, you're going to have to put him up there with MJ and the rest of these guys. But, it takes more than a year.
I mean, I think they got one loss. They still got one loss,
one loss, 25-1.
I don't see how anybody can beat them in the chip. And, I've been a LeBron fan.
Well, you know what I was telling Carl?
But I just don't know if they can get it done.
I was telling Carl, I said, and again, I'm a systems guy. So I said, I told Carl, I said, man, we got to be careful. If you paid attention, the Spurs is 21 or something, whatever.
Key, yeah.
They only like about 3-4 games behind.
They lost like 5. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're not too far behind. So
well, how come nobody respects the Spurs?
I think because it's a system, man. Like Tim Duncan, he's not flashy.
They're like the Patriots of basketball.
It's just no flash, no flair. It's the process. They're all about the process.
Nobody want to see the bank shot.
Nobody want to see the bank shot.
Nobody want to see the left hand layup.
The left hand layup isn't.
Right. But isn't that crazy, though, how we look at the Spurs and it's almost frowned upon because they actually do what you're supposed to do. They play fundamental team ball. They pass the ball well. They defend well. They're well coached. Yeah. Like all the things that you would ask for. But, we kind of, when it comes to the best teams, here we are talking about LeBron and Curry, and we hadn't even mentioned Tim Duncan.
Oh, here's my other thing. It's like we're talking about the retirement of the Black Mamba. Everybody, best ever play. But Tim Duncan is right there with LeBron in terms of
Kobe.
Kobe. He's right there in terms of championships. I think he might have one more MVP than Kobe. He right there. And we must say that he's still averaging what he averaged when he first came to the league.
Wow.
So he's still right there. And I mean but nobody talks about that he has a chance to catch Michael Jordan this year. If the Spurs win, he got a chance. Kobe don't stand a chance to win 6 titles. Like, it's over for Kobe in that regards. Unless something
he get traded to Golden State.
Well, yeah.
What I'm saying? Carl, if they trade your boy to Golden State, he might get one.
He might get one. Yeah. But I'm saying, look at the fact that Tim Duncan hasn't been injured. Right. I mean, let's talk about the process. Same team. The process. And so he's been preserved sticking with a formula versus kind of just going out there, and just the Black Mamba, 50 attempts. He's played in the scope of a team and a scope of a process, and he's still playing and playing pretty high at a high level, man. So
that's incredible,
So
man.
the Spurs, we got to give them, we got to teach these young people to not just look at the flair of the game, but look at the X's and the O's and, you know, what people are actually accomplishing.
Yep. And so we're almost finished, man. We're coming close on our time. Carl's telling me we got to hurry up and wrap this thing
5
up.
minutes.
What are your holiday plans, man? What's ET got up? We're sitting here. We're in Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, because they always want to know where we at, man. And we're in Lansing, Michigan. What's today? The 21st?
Yes, sir.
And so
we got to worry about that.
We
We got to worry about that Michigan State game against Oakland University first.
Oh yeah,
and because we trying to that would be we would have that would break the record of the most wins in MSU franchise.
And for those of you who don't know, listen, man, people always you rooting for State and you going to other teams. First of all, let me tell you something. E's son is the manager on the basketball team at Michigan State. We graduated from Michigan State University, both of us, multiple times. We got about 5, 6, 7 degrees between Carl, E, and I from Michigan State. So we always got love and respect for Michigan State. Understand something. When we go to these other teams and when we talk to these other teams, E is a character coach, right? E is going to come get your character right. So whether it's the Michigan Wolverines, whether it's Alabama Crimson Tide, the Steelers, that don't mean we don't love the Lions. It don't mean any of that. E is a character coach, right? He's going to come in there and get your mindset right, and we believe that's something that every single person on this planet needs.
I'm a professional.
So stop sending emails saying, E, you a Lions fan. Why are you at the Steelers?
Because I'm a professional.
And I'm like, unbelievable.
Yeah, you work at McDonald's, but you're eating at Wendy's.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a professional, and so, you know, for real, we want to help these kids, man, make the best
all
decisions.
Of these kids.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. But when you talk about fan, I'm fanned out on the. I bleed green.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so that's kind of what, how we address that situation. We got loyalty and love for Michigan State because we went there, graduated there, but we love and support all the programs because we believe in building up these young men and women and helping them to become the best people
And you
they
see
can.
Coaches leave a school and go to another school. I don't know why people be tripping. Players leave one, leave a
transfer.
Come on, man. NBA, they getting traded on the reg.
So anyway, your holiday plans, man. Run it down. What are we doing?
Always West Coast, baby.
Yeah.
I lost my godmother to cancer some years ago. I used to visit during the holidays to be with her before she transitioned. And now I spend time with her daughters and some of my West Coast homies. And so we'll be on the West Coast, man, I'm going back to Cali. Cali.
I'm going back to Cali.
Yeah,
no
I think
doubt.
so.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I think so. Cool, man. So, no, I'll be here. I came back to Lansing. Make sure I see the fam, mom and
give
dad.
me some of that dressing.
Got the grandbabies. Yeah, no, I can make sure I see
world-class dressing.
And, so that's it for the podcast, man. Before we get out of here, man, we do want to tell you guys, Breathe University, we heard you. A lot of you guys said, hey, we want to get in Breathe University, but it's too high. The price is too high. And,
they're going to get me in trouble with my regs.
Yeah, well, understand something, man. When we do this, we got to find a sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
We got to try to find a sweet spot for the pricing and the whole nine. And Carl came to me a while back and said, hey, we got a lot of people interested in getting in BU, but the price may be too high. Let's drop it down and allow an entry level kind of position where everybody can get in, for a cheaper price. We can still provide them with great content and the whole nine. And so we've done that for you guys. We heard you. We responded to that. And now the entry level BU package is $20. Right? And so for $20, you can join Breathe University. What is Breathe University? It's our online university, health, wellness, every aspect, mind, body, and soul. We really try to help you out in all areas. E leads out a call on Sundays. I lead a call out on Tuesdays. We got blog posts. We got modules online, training modules. You get extra ET audio. If he goes and speaks to the Steelers, I may just put it up on Breathe University. If he goes and talks to a Fortune 500, I may just put it up there, stuff that's exclusive to Breathe University students. We don't put it on YouTube. We don't put it anywhere else. And I think more so than that, too, just the online community of it, right? We got an online community that's awesome, man. Shout out to Patrick, everybody who Brandon, all the guys who, comment on a regular basis, Pierre, these guys are, and young ladies, Janelle, they're like family, man. And so it really is an online community where you can get support, ask questions of other people. ET might just pick you up and call your phone. So anyway, you need to be a part of Breathe University. Go to breatheuniversity.com. Sign up today. Again, $20. Is a small ask for what you're going to get. And Carl said we're not locking you into no year-long contract. It's month to month. If you get in and you pay your $20 and you want to get out after a month, hey, that's on you. But I promise you, man, if you sign up, you join, you'll be on with E and I, like I said, a couple times a week, and you'll enjoy this content and this information that you're going to get. That's it for us in our first annual Secret to Success podcast. We thank you guys for joining us. We hope you join us next week on the podcast, man, and have a safe holiday, a Merry Christmas, and get ready to blaze that 2016. We got something for them?
No, just be phenomenal, be for God.
That's it. We out, y'all.
Concentrate on this opportunity. You don't worry about tomorrow. You concentrate on this opportunity with all your might, with all your soul, with all your heart. You focus on this, and tomorrow will take care of itself.